Okay, great. We're going to continue on with the Finance and Administration Committee, and we're at the public comment portion. Is there any public comment? Hearing none, we'll adjourn the meeting of the Finance and Administration Committee.
Very good.
Is everybody ready for the pledge?
Yep.
Now, why don't you join me with the pledge of allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Oceana County Board for June 8th of 2023. And I ask for a roll call, please.
Mr. Erickson?
Here.
Mr. Morse?
Here.
Mr. Beggs?
Here.
Mr. Hardy?
Here.
Mr. Walker?
Here. Approval of the minutes from May 25th, 2023. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do I have a support?
I'll support Hardy.
Any questions or comments on it? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
I believe we should do a motion to approve the minutes from the closed session separately.
So move.
Okay.
Do I have a support?
I'll support.
Any questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? And before you leave, would you please give your copies of the closed session minutes back to the clerk, please? Thank you. Conflict of interest disclosure regarding agenda items. Are there any conflicts of interest? Hearing none, changes to the agenda? Approval of the agenda.
So move.
Moved by Mr. Erickson. Do
I'll
we have
support Hardy.
Support by Mr. Hardy. Thank you, Mr. Beggs.
Thank you.
All in favor of the agenda as presented, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Public comments. Do we have any public comment at this time? Commissioner Beggs, I believe the emergency management generator request is being referred to committee.
Yep, no
Am I-
action on that.
Is that correct?
Yes.
So there'll be no action at that. Thank you, Mr. Beggs. Commissioner Erickson, motion to approve fiscal year 2024 annual implementation plan for senior resources in West Michigan. Number 2023-71.
I move to approve the fiscal year 2024 annual implementation plan for senior resources of West Michigan 14 as presented.
Do I have a support?
I'll support.
Moved by
Hardy.
Mr. Erickson, support by Mr. Hardy. Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Mr. Erickson?
Yes.
Mr. Hardy?
Yes.
Mr. Morse?
Yes.
Mr. Beggs?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes. Mr. Morris, sheriff's wages. Do you have a motion for that?
I do. Oh, motion number?
No.
Okay. Chairman Walker, I make a motion to amend the previously adopted motion 2023-64 on May 23rd of 2023 to temporarily freeze the undersheriff's wages, to clarify that this freeze applies to cost of living increases only, unless or until such increase is specifically considered by the Board of Commissioners. And would like to clarify that effective the first payroll period possible after this meeting, the sheriff will receive a total amount of annual salary of $92,000 per year for 2023, and authorize administration to make the necessary calculations to prorate this new total through the remaining payroll periods in 2023. In the first payroll of 2024, The then current annual total salary amount will be readjusted to prorate this amount over the number of payrolls per year.
I'll support.
Thank you, Mr. Boss. Thank you, Mr. Beggs, for the support. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Morse?
Yes.
Mr. Beggs?
Yes.
Mr. Erickson?
Yes.
Mr. Harden?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes. Mr. Erickson, number 2023-72.
Mr. Walker, I move to allow the county treasurer's office to increase work hours up to 40 hours per week for the next 6 months to allow the county administrator to make the adjustment to the treasurer's budget.
Do we have a support?
I'll support.
Thank you, Mr. Beggs. Discussion? There needs to be a discussion here.
Yeah, I
Mr.
have one
Wood.
question. Can we run this to the end of the year, or does that overlap into next year? I
No, the
don't-
next 6 months, that runs it through the end of December.
Okay, but we're into June already. That's why I wanted
Right.
to clarify that.
Oh,
So
you
it's-
can clarify if you wanna change the 6 months to,
January 1st.
yeah, through January
Through
1 or
December 31st.
December
Fiscal
31st.
23.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
fiscal
could we
20.
do 3, because I mean, a 6-month backlog is an awful long backlog. Can we do 3 months and monitor the situation? I mean,
Well, you're still,
if they hire somebody in the next 3 to 4 weeks,
did your...
spin up time.
Yeah, so did your budget number include if they added somebody?
Yes.
It did. So we're
Yes.
about $3,800 out of pocket.
Okay.
But that kind of makes up too, because the benefits that we're not paying for the ones that...
Yeah, so those calculations were for a 6-month
Yeah,
period.
yeah.
It's not horrible.
What, I'm sorry, go ahead. I don't want to make it complicated, but I don't remember when the last pay period is in December here.
I don't have it. Oh, hold on a second, I can look at the.
Well, I don't know if it makes it difficult for somebody, for payroll to, I guess you understand what I'm saying. If it divides up a check, that they go back to 35 hours a week after that, or...
Yeah, she'll have to.
December
they'll-
29th.
Yeah, yes, they'll have to change. And then the first pay in January will incorporate some of the hours from
Yeah.
December.
Okay. So
Um,
run it through January 1 or December 31st?
December 31st.
December 31st. Can we have modify
Because
that?
it has to be
Yeah.
charged back to the proper year.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So that is how we are going to deal with the hourly employees in the office. We had a second request. What are the thoughts on the second request as far as the treasurer? Because the treasurer is, the treasurer is a salary position, it's not an hourly position.
That was one of my questions, I guess.
So, you know, was there a concern of the board members that we could, in the past, there has been a stipend that has been given to elected people, you know, for things, and we could leave the wage what it is right now and give a stipend, you know, for the, I'm opening it up.
That,
Because the stipend does not affect, the wage. If it goes away,
Right.
you can do that.
I don't think you can.
We did it before. Amy, what was that?
I
Remember
do.
when Becky and Sheila were here, and they had given her 1 year, when I was first on the board? Because it was however we do it, what do we do?
Her request was to reduce her to 40.
But she doesn't work a set number of hours.
I'm sorry, but it is...
You know what?
She's 35 hours right now? Or is she 40?
You know, can I make a suggestion here?
Yeah.
So we don't walk into ground like we did before, can I make the suggestion that we increase the hourly people in the office and the new one they hired to 40 hours a week until the end of, till December 31st. And if we're gonna give an adjustment to the treasurer because of the things going on in the office, that the administrator find out from the attorney how we go about doing that, and we'll take care of it at the next meeting.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, and that's where when Mary Lou comes in and makes a request, I feel obligated to listen very, very carefully and to do our best to meet that request. She's done as much for that office as we remember George Lambrick's doing when he held that chair. And the income that she's produced and the hours that she's spent have gone above and beyond what we normally had seen out of that office.
Yeah, and I think we've all seen that, but let's do it right. You know,
Yep, and I think that if we
for the
get
sake
an
of-
opinion and if there is
For the sake of 2 weeks, we'll ask the attorney how we go about doing this.
Okay.
But she took it as a salaried job and she was doing 45 to 50 hours a week, so, but you can only expect that from Mary Lou.
And do my fellow board members concur that that's how we will handle it, we'll do it?
Yes.
So
It's
the
a good-
motion stands
good
for
path forward.
The way the motion
The motion
stands.
stands for
Yep.
for the hourly employees. And we have a motion and we have a support for it.
As long as we communicate that with Mary Lou,
I'll
so
do-
whether that's you or Tracy.
I can do that on my way out the door. Tracy, do you want to?
Good.
I'll do that on my way out the door.
Okay.
So, roll call vote, please. Are we
Mr.
clear for a roll call vote?
Clear.
Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Erickson?
Yes.
Mr. Beggs?
Yes.
Mr. Morse?
Yes.
Mr. Hardy?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes, and thank you. Mr. Hardy, payment of claims.
Okay, motion for payment of approval for the payables and release of funds for 6/8/2023. Ambulance fund, $1,229.80. Brownfield redevelopment authority total, $3,175.10. Indigent defense fund, $7,395.44. Department of Veteran Affairs, $3,599.99. Technology and Innovation Fund, $2,925.67. Capital Project Equipment Replacement Fund total, $8,971.29. Building Department Fund total, $2,634.24. For a general fund total of $294,745.49, and a grand total of $321,501.92.
Do I have a support?
Support.
Moved by Mr. Hardy, support by Mr. Erickson. Any questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Hardy?
Yes.
Mr. Erickson?
Yes.
Mr. Morse?
Yes.
Mr. Beggs?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes. Reports from commissioners. Mr. Morris?
Well, I gotta say, I wish I had, I don't know, I had a brain freeze there. I have written an amendment to approving the senior resources budget. And this is what I was finishing up. People should be treated with dignity regardless of their race, sexual orientation, religion, immigration status, ethnicity, etc. We also acknowledge that people also have prejudices against people simply based on their race in that same list, which we do not condone. Nevertheless, we believe the goal to improve the accessibility of services to Michigan communities and people of color, immigrants, and LGBTQ plus individuals is overemphasized in this AIP. So I guess what I'm asking is, would there be enough support to amend the motion that we made earlier to add that piece of language, still approving it, to add that so that the people that approve, or the feds or whoever sees this, sees our input.
I think what we need to do is add a motion to put that in. If you do the motion, we'll do a support and then we'll discuss it.
Could you read
Okay.
it again?
All right, I will. So I make a motion that we include, or that we amend the previous motion
2371.
2023-71, thank you. to include language that says people should be treated with dignity regardless of their race, sexual orientation, religion, immigration status, ethnicity, etc. We also acknowledge that people have prejudices against people simply based on their race, sexual orientation, religion, immigration status, etc., which we do not condone. Nevertheless, we believe the goal to improve the accessibility of services to Michigan's communities and people of color, immigrants, and LGBTQ+ individuals is overemphasized in this AIP.
I'll support that.
We have a motion to support. Discussion?
Bill, would you want to add on there that at the end what the goal is to help the elderly? I mean, just kind of a tag.
I would put it more eloquently than I did.
So,
The goal of the program is to help, you know.
oh, so add like a sentence?
Yeah, just a kind of a goal at the end of your explanation, and you know, the purpose of it is, you know.
The objective should be to help the elderly of our community that are in need.
Right. In other words, you kind of stated it before, we'd like
Is that a better way to say it
the
than I
premise
did
of the
earlier?
program and what they're headed for was just what the emphasis was put on, which I'm sure came through for the funding portion of it, but.
It is a senior resource.
Yeah,
It should be the
exactly.
seniors. that
It
will
should
help.
be, yeah, anyway.
So
But
the objectives should be solely to help the elderly people in our community.
maybe the goal,
Like the goal.
Yeah.
The goals.
and I, that
They
was
list
just.
them as objectives in their
Oh, do they?
report.
Oh,
There
are
were
they?
3
Okay.
objectives.
Well, objective then
It
is
was, and she hasn't presented to Ottawa yet. I mean, the
Oh, they're
wheels
gonna-
might come off the bus here.
Yeah.
You know, we're just the first volley.
Yeah. But no, I appreciate you adding that to it.
Yeah, so I added a line, the objective should be solely to help the elderly people in our community.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
We have a motion to support. Discussion. Are we done with discussion? We can do a roll call vote. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Morse?
Yes.
Mr. Beggs?
Yes.
Mr. Hardy?
Yes.
Mr. Erickson?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes. Mr. Morse.
Thank
Thanks,
yeah,
Bill.
thank you for that.
That was a good way to handle that.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Morse. Do you have anything else to report from commissioners, Mr. Morse?
I do, but I'm not gonna, we're out of time.
Okay.
It's not that important.
Mr. Erickson?
Yeah, a couple things. As Gary had reiterated earlier, we had a good meeting in Colfax this past week. Excuse me, both Colfax and Crystal, but in Crystal, the Crystal Valley Park is moving forward with Pam Blau, and it was very good, very productive out there. That farm community is very happy. I attended the Colfax Town Board meeting, and they've made great strides out there with the new supervisor, David Leonard, in which they've been able to pass a contract with the Walkerville Area Fire Department to contract services, $72,000 annually. They have no equity in the department, but then again, they have no Colfax residents that are serving on the department. The Walkerville Area Fire Department has about 14 on its roster, and the Crystal Township Fire Department has 10 on its roster, 6 of which are Elbridge, Levitt residents that are serving both fire departments. We're having a shortage, it's getting thin out there for the people that we rely on our first responder and also on our fire command. So it's a little thin. Last night the Walkerville Fire Board asked that I come to our board again and discuss the possibility. They're shopping right now for a Suburban or a light vehicle, for a turnout vehicle for their first responders. If there might be something that we may have in inventory that's going back to our lease company, an Explorer or something that we might be able to help them get their hands on. They're shopping on Medema right now in Orbit and last bid to get a unit, $12,000 to $15,000-$20,000 rig that's been taken out of service by another department that they can respond to without having to get a big truck out of the barn. But it was a very good meeting last night at Walkerville with the fire board. Dave Leonard was there. Walkerville did countersign that contract with Colfax, so I feel real good about what we've done. Colfax is going to put those 2 fire trucks up for sale now that they bought from Mason County Rural. They'll go out on the auction site here this next month. I believe it'll be up and moving. So unfortunately they have a fire barn with nothing in it now and no firefighters. They're looking for a place to move the town hall at or have it raised. That's the other big thing with Colfax. But no, I think otherwise we have an asparagus festival coming up this weekend. We've got a parade coming up. We've got a new queen. I've got some newspapers I'll hand out for you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Erickson. Mr. Banks?
Nothing to report today.
Mr. Hardy?
Nothing to report.
Ms. Anderson?
Nope.
Fired? Thank you. And I have nothing. Public comments?
Thanks, Paul.
Yes. Welcome.
Thanks, Paul.
So I had the opportunity several weeks ago to go to the state legislature and represent the Oceana Conservation District.
Thank you, Paul.
And one of the things that's come up that I think you should be aware of is that the federal government, the USDA, U.S. Department of Agriculture, has put basically $19.2 billion on the table for the farm communities. And one of the concerns that we have in Michigan with the Conservation District, or I should say NRCS, is the federal agency that oversees distribution of money to farmers. And NRCS is having a hard time in Michigan getting money to the farmers' hands, literally. And they're doing that basically through conservation districts. There's 83 counties in the state, as you know. There's 75 conservation districts. And one of the pushes that we see in Oceana County is that we don't have enough staff to really go out and really market this farm bill with NRCS to the farm community. And the larger farmers are very clear on what's going on because they have a relationship with NRCS. The problem is the smaller farmer that really could take advantage of some of these programs is not being courted like the larger farmers are. It's easy for the NRCS administrator, Gary Lee, who is the state administrator, addressed the group. And as a result of his conversation, it made a lot of sense to me that it's very evident that the conservation districts need to have more support from not only the state of Michigan, but from the counties that we are all part of. So as the process goes forward for the budget, it's coming up, we'll start probably looking at it in August, as I know. I've sitting in the back seats there over the years, I've heard possibility of cutting funding to MSU Extension, Conservation District, Oceana Conservation District. I would ask to certainly consider keeping at least the same, if not increasing. There are a lot of programs that go out to the farm community, not only the farm community for the Conservation District, but now even more so education to children on natural things and issues, but certainly lots of programming that goes to the whole adult community in the county. So it was very interesting. It was a legislative process put on by the Michigan Association of Conservation Districts, which is a 501c3, but all the districts are part of that. I shouldn't say all of them, but a large number of them are. And it seemed very evident from Gary Lee, the NRCS director, from the federal government, that Michigan is being overlooked largely, and Illinois, Iowa, Indiana, Wisconsin, and Minnesota are the grain belt states that we fall into. And they're getting a large portion of this money, and Michigan is missing out because we don't have the resources on the ground to go out and get this money distributed. So that's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McHugh. Before we adjourn, I'm just going to remind my fellow commissioners, and it's for myself also, that the legal opinion that we had was discussed in closed session, and that's not a public document. So I think we all realize that. So if there's nothing else, we adjourn. Thank you, board members, and thank you, Amy and Tracy.
Thank you, sir.
I have two things.
Girl, you'll get to lunch.
One.
I was gonna go off a little bit on when I started going off with you yesterday
About
about
the airport.
the, I think I'm gonna make a resolution